we underestimated the impact, firstly, of the reallocation of capex from some of those mega cap companies, particularly in digital advertising, where they shifted their capital expenditures away from things like the metaverse into focusing on their core business and reinvigorating their platform for social media, making it more interesting to advertisers and to consumers, but also cutting cost, 20% cut in their workforce. So they've moved ahead of the rest of the economy and how that they're seeing a slowdown and pressure coming through on profits, but the tech sector actually moved ahead of those parts of the economy in shedding labour and cutting cost quicker than everyone else. And that's without even mentioning AI. I think it's interesting to think about tech in terms of an evolution of computing platforms. If we look back and where are we with AI and what does it mean? For us, if you look back to the 1950s and onwards, every 15 years we've seen a new computing platform emerge. Mainframes in the 50s and 60s with IBM capturing 85% of the value chain, and digital equipment and mini computers, 85% of the value chain, and then on into PCs where we had Microsoft and Intel, 85% of the value chain, and then onwards into the cell phone and smartphone era with Nokia first of all in feature phones, and then Apple in smartphones, 85% of the value chain. Today, we think we're at the build-out phase and the hardware infrastructure build for an Internet of Things of distributed computing with an AI-enabled data center at its core. And there's probably going to be one company that captures 85% of that value chain. So that looks like Nvidia today. If we're only a few years into that build-out, it's possible that if we look 2 or 3 years down the road, that we're still early in this rollout phase, and actually the valuations are very much justifiable when we think about the future growth and future return on capital for those businesses. Also today, when we compare the rollout of the internet in the late 1990s, which was really financed and built out by heavily indebted telecom companies and loss-making CLECs in the US, today, the infrastructure rollout of AI is financed by cash-generative, cash-rich businesses with zero debt and very large capex budgets. $180 billion of capex between those top 6 or 7 companies in that list, plus private capital, which now will come in to advance that hardware infrastructure rollout. So it's potentially early days, and that would potentially make some of these stocks actually quite good value. The standout trend there has been the advance of those stocks in 2023. We must remember how far they fell in 2022, so it's been a reversal from an oversold position, arguably. But I think now with the visibility on hardware infrastructure rollout to enable an AI-powered kind of computing platform, we have visibility on those hardware companies and the success within that value chain. I think where we have less visibility is what the killer applications will actually be. And again, back to 1999, we had the merger of AOL Time Warner, and they were the largest internet access company and one of the largest media companies at the time. And their killer application was going to be buying goods live from TV shows that you were watching in your TV in the comfort of your own living room. Now, we bought a lot of goods online and we watched a lot of TV, but we didn't necessarily watch it in our living room, and we bought things from our phone and we had the sum of human knowledge in our pocket. So the applications of that technology really at the infrastructure rollout phase are unknown, and they do impact and penetrate more areas and more sectors of the economy relative to the previous cycle. We think exactly the same will happen in AI. It's too early to tell who the winners from the applications will be, but we know that the infrastructure is going to be built out, and there's good visibility in the revenue, cash flow, and profitability in that effort. No, I don't think Netflix is too good to be true. I think what you have is a transition in the business model away from subscription only to a mixture of subscription and advertising revenue. And we think that expands the available revenue opportunity for Netflix. So traditional TV networks, for example, would earn $150 per annum per viewer in advertising revenue. If Netflix can earn $150 per annum per viewer in advertising revenue plus $60 in annual subscription for their basic ad-supported tier of revenue, then you have $210 per viewer versus about $120 or $140 today. So if they're successful in that transition, then it's very much an expanding revenue opportunity with not much additional cost, which means better cash flow, better return on capital, and all at a pretty compelling valuation.